All right. Everybody. No laughing, no smiling.
That's it, I'm out.
So I hope that you leave after this half hour with something that makes a difference. And have a better understanding of how your body works. But the reason why it's important to have an understanding of how your body works, then you're able to make better choices. Better choices, we have a better life. Right? Bad choices. Bad life. Right? So I'm gonna what's that?
Oh, safety pin.
Safety pin. Nice. Oh, look, what's this? Right here.
Finance.
Nice. I have a question. Safety pins work better open or closed? Closed, right? You don't wanna-
Well, you can't really very well punch a hole through something when it's closed.
Oh, that's
Right, you gotta get to.
exactly.
Right.
I mean, you can use it as a pin when it's open, which reminds me. I always tell the same story. I wasn't gonna say it.
That's funny.
Now it's us.
Have you been to this workshop already?
No,
All right, so anyway.
Great straight man.
All right, so anyway, when I was in junior high school, it was like, I grew up in a very sheltered neighborhood in Brooklyn. Nice, sheltered. Elementary school was like one class from each grade to some of that. They had, like single family homes and stuff. Then we went to middle school, and it was like, Mike, the CEO must be like, all the size with the general population. It was like, oh my God, what's going on here now? Mixed in with all these other Brooklyn kids. Who had knives, they were in seventh grade, they were 12, 13 years old, they had knives, they were drinking in the back, they were fighting. So anyway, one of the things that would happen is that when we go on the steps, these girls would all have safety pins in their pocket.
Oh, I didn't hear this.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
He thinks I would have been one of those.
I took-
Probably, Kathy, we know about you.
Kathy lived on the other side of the bed. I lived on one side of the bed, she lived on the other side of the bed. She was one of the
Oh, no.
cupcakes. But she said she wasn't.
That's what I tell her too. She said
Yeah, we
that.
grew up in like the same
really?
neighborhood.
I'm from Woodhaven.
Ah, nice. I know she said that.
Right, I grew up in Manhattan Beach,
Okay,
so I was very
Oh,
active.
I have pictures on that.
Yeah.
On the beach. Yeah.
Right, so anyway. It works better closed. Works better. Now, what does this have to do with it? Right? Let's use the word connect. So this represents the brain. This represents the body. Now, the brain sends messages to the body to the efferent nervous system. So, see a rabid dog, right? The brain sends a message to your body, run. Right? But the body sends messages to the brain. So what just happened when you see a rabid dog, what part of your body just sent the message to your brain? You see a rabid dog.
Your eyes.
Sorry, but
I know, laughing.
we're all looking like, I don't know. I keep thinking of the rapid.
rapid dog? Can you hear a rapid dog?
Fast. You mean rapid or rabid?
Rapid.
Like
It sounded like you
rabies.
said rapid.
Right, like he's
Rapid.
running fast at you rapidly.
A rapid.
A rabid,
Rapid.
a rapidly running towards you rabid dog.
Exactly. Alright. So, your brain, your eyes send a message to your brain. The brain sends a message to your body. And your body sends a, then your brain sends a message back to your body. Run!
Rapidly.
Rapid. Right?
Yes.
So that's adaptation and response. That's adaptation and response. And it comes from messages from the body to the brain and the brain back to the body. And we're constantly, that's how we survive in this world. This is how we deal with the rapid dogs in our lives. Right? There's constant stressors that our body senses, our senses sense, sends a message to our brain, the brain sends a message back to the body, what to do. And this is also happening internally, right? So, you know, let's say with the rapid dog. So then you're running, right? And what starts happening with your body once you start running? Think about it. Think about what happens when you start running fast.
You get tired.
What's that?
You get tired.
Okay, you get tired. What else? Heavy breathing, right? So all of a sudden you need more oxygen. So your body sends a message to the brain, hey, you need more oxygen. Brain sends a message to the lungs, stop breathing fast. Right? Then also the body sends a message to the brain, hey, we need more blood flow. We need to get all the energy to our body. So the brain sends a message to our heart to stop breathing fast. We're always adapting, responding emotionally. What's going on with us constantly, right? And I think we all agree that there's a lot of rapid dogs in our lives, you know, that we have to deal with, and we have to adapt and respond to all the stressors in our lives. Everything works now, right? But what happens, right, when you're not able to get those messages back? Yeah, when we're subluxated, right? Now we don't have that communication between that brain and body the same way. We have that to all the stressors in life and affects survival.
We get bitten by the rabid dog.
Right, you get bitten by the rabid dog. You know, so it's like everybody comes here initially for pain, but I think what most people realize that, like Crystal said, hey, all of a sudden emotionally I'm dealing with things
Yeah.
a little different. So, the AFAM is the bioactive brain, that constant feedback. Right? So here, so we need that connection, right? To provide help, we need that connection, okay, which creates communication between the brain and the body. With that connection, we have the communication. When they're coordinated, when they're communicated, then they're able to coordinate. And that's what the nervous system does. It's this constant coordinating what the body needs to do to respond to whatever it might be. You have the pancreas working, you have the stomach working, your legs and muscles work. All of it's adaptation response. Make sense? So this is, let me just, and this brings it up. So, you know, one of the things that we see all the time is that people say, oh, you know, I just bent over to pick up a pencil and my back went out. You think that's when that happened? Right? So it's a buildup of stress in the body, creating the subluxations, right? Now we have a lack of communication, all right, for communication, so when you go to pick up that thing, there's a lot of messages that are going back and forth with a simple thing, different muscles tightening, different muscles loosening. We have a lack of coordination here, and all of a sudden, these muscles and ligaments aren't able to adapt and work the way they're supposed to pick up that thing. All of a sudden, bam. So when we talk about the nervous system, right? One of the main things, I've been a first responder. I was a ski patrolman. I'm a science, right? And there's a thing called the ABCs, but first you have to make sure that the airway is clear. So you breathe out, right? Then you make sure that the lungs are working, breathing is okay. Then you make sure that they're not bleeding out. These are all things to remember. The last thing too, after that, is that you have to make sure that there's a clear communication between the brain and the mind. Right? Because without that clear communication, what's going to happen?
You die.
Now, you die. So the most important thing to do when you're transporting somebody is making sure that the spinal cord is. So there's all this training that we do all over. Just to learn how to take somebody's ski. So we don't we train over and over again. Hold their head, put their head, stabilize it, and stabilize it on the backboard hundreds of times. Yeah. And what happens is like, oh my God, this is what they have. This person's life is not here. So I have to do it now. If I asked you how long you live, let's say without food.
5 days.
Week,
5 days. How about without oxygen?
6 minutes?
5, 6 minutes. And how much can you live without the message from the brain to the body? That's it. So when we're talking about subluxation, we're talking about the higher force. So subluxations break that connection, right? Stop the communication. They're not able, the nervous system isn't able to coordinate and adapt to respond to whatever it is that's happening, so we can't survive. Practically talk about this ease. Does that sound familiar? This ease, because when I say this ease, subluxated, happens. So adjustments connect those brain and body. So here, so you have a better sense of what happens too, is that when we have subluxations, not only does it send a message, let's say this goes to your stomach, this nerve also has a loop to the reptilian brain, so-called limbic system, which runs out right before. Every subluxation will actually cause us to some degree to go into stress. So then what happens when that happens?
Tension.
You tighten up more, which creates more subluxations. Now also, what happens when we're in a stress response? When we see the world more as a hostile place, which is a safe place. Hostile, right? We don't know that. You notice when
The stress, my back, I'm like, oh, I feel it immediately in my back, like.
and then, okay, the person who probably didn't even bother you all of a sudden is the biggest a-hole in the world, right? of a sudden your nervous system is perceiving things. Well, it's a hostile. Which does what to your nervous system? So that's. So, and now I have to respond in that way. That's stress response. And you probably feel it. And that's something that we feel. It affects our immunity. It's the same thing. I mean, that adaptation response, the brain to the nervous system. The immune system is part of this whole thing too. Other workshop about the immune system. Okay. So, conversations are bad. Judgments are good. That's it. All right.
Thank you.
Isn't that great?
It's great. I'll tell you,
We
when,
recorded it?
when I was like, my little hiatus from you.
Right.
And like I would be stressed out, I would feel it immediately in my back. And I was like, oh my God. It's really true.
Oh, I do too, you know? It's the same for me.
It's really true.
But then that is gonna cause you. After
Right, so
some
it's just
pain,
a vicious cycle.
if there's
over.
really affects the quality. You know, I love, we're so lucky here, I'll say it again, at the end of these workshops, I can't stop, we can't stop being reminded of these babies who come to us in turmoil. Newborn babies, some kind of birth trauma, you know, and they are just miserable. They come and they're like this, we had one today.
That's incredible.
You know, we had a baby like that today who had a stressful birth. And this poor baby was
Sleeping?
sleeping. So actually, that baby's response was to turn off. A lot of us, does anybody deal with stress by turning off? That's me.
Oh, yeah, me too.
You know, I just kind of go into la la land.
Yeah.
You know, my wife is screaming at me. I'm like,
Turn
that's how I was. So anyway, you know, it was interesting with this particular baby, they adjusted the baby, and actually all of a sudden started crying, you know, like crazy. There's almost a difference, like actually turning the baby. All of a sudden, the baby kind of like, whoa.
But with that, they took the baby into the other room and mom nursed the baby because baby came in like this.
Oh, really?
And the parents couldn't stop showing me the baby when they left was like this.
That's why.
And once she nursed the baby went to sleep. So, and they were thrilled.
Yeah.
So actually, you know, and we say, usually we see the opposite, right?
That's what I was
We
gonna
have
say,
these
usually.
babies who just cry nonstop, and we get adjustments, and they stop crying. So it's interesting. So please, let people know about this. No freaking idea. It's like, oh, you go to the chiropractor, you get cracked.
You're right, that's so
Right.
typical.
Oh, did
they crack you back? You're gonna crack me.
It's very typical.
Or
right?
over here, you know. And what with you, you know, the chiropractic change people's lives. Believe me, if you're getting adjusted for a long time, it's gonna change your life. It's gonna change your life. Be able to deal with it.
You're right, people think like, oh, so you cracked your back or your neck, now you're good, like, that's it, like you took an aspirin or something.
Right.
It's so weird, like,
Right.
everybody has that
They think it's.
mentality, well, I didn't know
That-
either until I started coming.
But we all have
Yeah.
that mentality, because that's what we're taught. We get our health.
Culturally,
Yeah, we get our health. It's always a quick fix.
But then if you
You know,
go
get
now
a
with
drug.
like the internet, if you go online, you can find all these chiropractors, and I told you, they put the microphone right there where you're gonna get cracked, and then it sounds like this big dramatic. And I'm like, wow, how do they do that? Like, oh, I saw this thing, I was like, I will never do that. They put in a lath, like a rubber band type of thing on, like you're laying on your back, then they put it around and they pull you. And I'm like, oh no.
Anyway, it's just, I don't know how to put that in front of profession.
Yeah, you're right.
Right,
You're right.
right.
So
And the
anyway,
practice come a long way. I mean,
I'll be honest with, no,
I started
I'll tell you,
early
But I'll tell you something, the technique that I use was introduced in 1920. I do, the whole technique I do started in 1920. Elevate for all these years, but basically I'm doing.
Excellent
Right.
questions. How did you find it?
Chiropractic.
Yeah,
What times?
yeah. I can ask you another time too.
6:51.
All right, I'll tell you very quick.
Okay.
and then we're gonna be done. So my dad was a pharmacist. He was really sick and tired of watching people getting sick from all this. And he had some health issues, some intense allergies. And he ended up kind of people couldn't change his whole diet. He was like really overweight, wasn't healthy. This guy changed his life. He started eating well. He started, you know, I mean, my dad would sit down and eat a whole quart of ice cream before he, you know,
Yeah.
wow.
drink 2 martinis. You know, that mentality in those days. The other thing too was all those guys from World War II, they all had PTSD.
It was my dad.
Yeah, they all had.
He died younger than me.
Yeah, my dad died just about my age now. He, you know, he suffered a lot of trauma. He was a teacher. He was a medic at teacher. So he was 18 years old. Can you imagine? 18-year-old with mass
Goosebumps.
bloodshed.
Gave me goosebumps when you said
So anyway, he started going to that. So it's telling me, hey, we need to come to chiropractor, jobs, television. That's what the commercials, and it was really boring. It's terrible. It sounds glamorous, but it's not.
It's not.
Hours and this was snorting cocaine, beer.
Oh, and the cigarette smoke inside.
Oh, the whole thing. It's not a healthy lifestyle. Yeah, and then he, and I said, you know.
Here you are.
Actually,
And
he
we're so
told me that
lucky.
his chiropractor had
Yes.
2 weeks ski vacation. That's
That's
convincing.
You're easy sell.
I could help people get 2 weeks each.
Right.
I haven't had one yet.
Oh.
I don't think I wanted 2 weeks ski vacation.
Right.
You're right. I've been-
It's a
it's a
long
long
time.
time.
It's a long time.
If you look at
Most
the
of the-
You come back exhausted.
I could do it for a week is a long.
But
he's the
Yeah,
first one I've ever been to.
different.
I was always like very skeptical.
Alright, that's good.
Thank
Let
you.
me just, yeah, because it's 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I was always very skeptical about it, and 2 years ago, I was like, oh, my shoulder, blah, 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 and